of the world are focused. Wherever history is in the making, she is there, organizing events, guiding those new to the limelight, bringing openness to those who shape the destinies of the planet. In the corridors of power, behind closed doors, she is the one the leaders follow, jetting around the world to bring words of comfort to the bewildered. Ever ready to share herself with her public, she'll even give up her Sundays to bring color to our lives. Interrupting her busy schedule to be with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Dame Edna Experience.
Isn't my frock gorgeous? No prizes for guessing what organ in the human anatomy inspired this dress. Because normally all my viewers are looking at my frock, but tonight my frock is looking at you. And what it sees, it adores. I took this very same little number to the dry cleaner the other day. He said, "That's not a little stain, Dame Edna, that's conjunctivitis," he said. I'm only teasing. But you know what my favourite organ in the human anatomy is? Perhaps I should spell it. M-O-U-T-H. Yes, the mouth is my very, very favourite organ. We were thinking of calling this wonderful show the Dame Edna Experience. We were thinking of calling it Dame Edna Mouth to Mouth. Because I give a kiss of life to my guests on this show. I give a little bit of oral stimulation to my moribund guests. I give mouth, lips, teeth, gums. I'm a very oral person. I'm part of the oral tradition, as a matter of fact. London Weekend thought Dame Edna Mouth to Mouth might have been a bit above your heads, though. I told them, I said, don't underestimate my public. My public are not idiots. Idiots have got their own channel, I said. But what use is the mouth if you don't give it away? That's what I say. And it's time for me to put my mouth to work on my guests tonight. Here's my set. There's Madge. Hello, Madge. Madge Allsop. She was my bridesmaid. Don't encourage her. Madge comes from New Zealand. She's the New Zealand content in the show. She's used really as bait in the hope that... human maggot, this woman. I mean that lovingly, Madge. She's used in the hope that we might sell this series to New Zealand. Madge is a celebrity in New Zealand, which gives you a rough idea what the rest of the people over there... Darling, you behave yourself tonight, Madge. I don't want you embarrassing the guests with autographs or asking them for locks of hair or smears or anything of that. Don't you do that, will you, Madge? And what a wonderful lineup of guests we've got tonight. Of course, there's a darling, darling friend of mine, a very oral woman, Joan Rivers. And then we've got Demis Roussos, who is really, you know, the mush from the Mediterranean, Zsa Gabor, the mouth of the Danube, and the owner of a little mouth that's been turning up quite a bit at the corners lately, a survivor from way back, who's bounced off the trampoline of life right into my show tonight. An excited round of applause approaching an ovation. Please for my first celebrity guest, Jeffrey Archer! much at home in my hot seat. Madge Alsop, my bridesmaid. Your fiancé.
A present for you, Dame Edna.
A present from you, Jeff, darling. Look, a matter of honour. It's gorgeous. I can't wait to dip my nose into this publication of yours. Look after that, would you? Darling. You can read that during the show. It'll keep you out of It's a hardback, too. Oh, lovely. That should excite you, Madge. My dear Jeff, what I want to ask you is... Oh, give us the badge, Madge. The badge. In case I forget his name. Jeff, tell me. We've got a friend in common, and that's Mrs. Thatcher. And I want to ask you this.
I didn't realise you knew her.
Oh, I know her very well indeed, my darling. Very, very well indeed.
I've seen you a lot down at Checkers or Number 10, but I take your word for it.
No, I go privately. You just go with a lot of other people. She can trust me alone with her. She can. Anyway, it's girls' talk, girls' talk. But tell me. But I know that she said, Jeff, I want you to introduce humour back into British politics. How did you go about that, darling?
I should have taken you round with me. It would have been quicker. I think politics is obviously very serious, but if you can bring humour back into politics, and if you can remember amusing moments, they make hard work lighter. I was in Bristol during the election campaign, and two young men in black leather jackets and jeans and spiky hair came up to me. Spooky people. And they came up and said, are you supporting the Conservatives? And I said, yes. And they said, tuppence off super glue and we're yours.
Well, you see, it's those little moments. Of course, Maggie is a bit of a mother figure for England, as indeed the Queen is. I'm a mother figure for Australia, believe it or not. And our mothers are important figures in our lives. Now, you've got a very, very distinguished mum. And I'd like you to paint, just as Whistler did a little portrait of his mother, I'd like you to paint a word picture of your darling mother.
My mother comes from Weston-super-Mare in Somerset. She's now 73, 74. And she lives in Weston-super-Mare, which is, Weston-super-Mare is to England what Melbourne is to Australia.
Oh, I have the picture.
And at the age of 67, she decided that she wanted to do something new, so she went down to the Weston-super-Mare Technological College, and she took 6 O-levels at the age of 67. And at the age of 69, she passed 6 O-levels. So I rang her up and was obviously very proud of her, and then she then told me she was going to take A-levels at the age of 69. So she went back down to the Weston-super-Mare Technological College and sat A-levels at the age of 69. Last summer, when many parents watching this show would have been worrying about the results of their children at O and A level, I was worrying about the results of my mother.
Oh, a little round of applause, I think. I hope...
So I rang her up and said, this has got to end. I mean, this is far enough. And she said, oh no, they've offered me a place at Bristol University to read a degree. So I said, have you thought this through, Mother? If you actually take a Bachelor of Arts degree and you then get it at the age of 77, what will you do with a Bachelor of Arts degree at the age of 77? She said, well, I've given that considerable thought, and I think that I'll either write a novel or become a Member of Parliament.
I hope you're watching, darling. I think Jeff's obviously very, very proud of you, and we are too. Marvellous. My mother hasn't been offered any degree. My mother, she's still with us. She's not with us. She's with them, as a matter of fact. She's in a maximum security twilight. Please, she's in a home for the bewildered. Goodness sake. It's a beautiful place. Well, the bewildered speak very highly of it. They don't advertise. It's just word of mouth. one bewildered person talking to another bewildered person, and then the word spreads through the entire bewildered community, which is bigger than you'd think. I think you must go and see them at least once a year. Some people think they can skip a year and it won't be noticed, but it is. It is. They notice the old folk. They do. Those old dry stalks in smelly green liquid on the bedside table tell their own tragic tale of filial neglect, Jeff. But I believe in positive thinking, and you do. We've got quite a bit in common. You're a positive thinker, aren't you? And I can see it in your eyes the way you're looking at me fearlessly.
I'm terrified.
Don't be terrified. Goodness knows what little Des Morris would say about your body language. I think you've got to learn to laugh at yourself. I can laugh at myself. I think that's one of the precious gifts that Dame Nature gave me. I think you can too, can't you?
I think you have to. I think in public life, if you don't laugh at yourself, it's very tragic. I was at a meeting quite recently in Dover where only 7 people turned up, and the lady introducing me said, ladies, we really must get a few more people along. Then we could get a good speaker.
Oh, dear.
Or indeed, I was down in Essex once when the mayor got up and said, ladies and gentlemen, I should now like to introduce Mr. Geoffrey Archer, a man known to you all for his debatable qualities.
Delightful. He sounds like a silly old working class person. I think if you can't laugh at yourself, you could be missing the joke of the century, couldn't you? The fact is that... It's all grist to the mill. It is with me that every spooky little thing that happens to me goes into my wonderful shows or my interviews or whatever I do. It somehow goes in and gets transformed inside you, doesn't it? Into a little magi mix of one's psyche. And out it comes in your case in these marvellous books and things. You put a lot of your own experiences into your novels.
Well, I think often you put in things that you have experienced in life along with things you haven't experienced, and perhaps the thing you've got to avoid most of all is coincidence, because people won't tolerate coincidence, though funnily enough, in real life, coincidence happens every single day in a way that you would never accept. For example, about 2 or 3 months ago, I went through a trial, and my home in the country...
I must have missed that.
I wish I had. And I have a home in the country, which I was a little worried about because my wife and I were going to be away for about 3 weeks. And I said to our housekeeper, this week, 3 weeks, if you could keep a special eye on it and be here most of the time. And she said, oh, and this was down in Cambridge, and she said, oh, I'm awfully sorry, I can't. I'm on jury service. Now, if you put that into a book, that the housekeeper was on jury service at exactly the same time as the other person had a trial in London, no one would accept it.
They wouldn't. They wouldn't, and yet it happened. Isn't life a spooky old thing? Of course, you have written a play which has a sort of a legal background too. Now, that's another bit of a coincidence, because you wrote it some time ago.
Yes, I've written a play that will open in the West End in 3 days' time, going to the Queen's Theatre in London.
I know that because I'm going to be sitting in the Royal Box that night. I'm looking forward to it. What's it called again?
It's called Beyond Reasonable Doubt.
Tell me a bit about this lovely play of yours.
Well, Act 1 is set in the Old Bailey. It's the story of a barrister, the most brilliant murder barrister in the country, defending himself for the murder of his wife. It's played by Frank Finlay, and the wife is played by Wendy Craig. And you watch him in the first act defending himself for his murder. And as it goes through, you have to decide whether the people are telling the truth and whether the story is good. And indeed, at the very end, when the usher comes forward and the usher stands up and faces the jury, and then he says, is the man guilty or not guilty? And the usher faces and says, yes, you are guilty.
afraid, Cossins, I had to abort that interview. I did, with some of the amazing technology I've got here. Not because I wasn't really getting to absolutely adore that man, and very excited I am about the show that's coming up, but I thought he might be telling me that this little whodunit. And that would spoil it for me, wouldn't it? My next guest is a big man with a big voice. He's the Colossus of Rhodes. A very big hand, please, for my favourite Greek next to Prince Philip. Demis Roussos! Would you Madge, please? A badge for Dennis. 60. Don't you worry about it. What the badges? The badges, Madge. This marvellous man here. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Quickly, woman. There. Oh, look, it's misspelled. That's Demis. Demis. What must is that Greek for Dennis? Never mind, it's lovely.
What's this?
This is my bridesmaid. This darling guest of mine, he's, of course, an accomplished guest on talk shows, but it's not generally known he sings.
Oh, I'm glad you noticed that.
I did notice, and I'm teasing because I've got all your albums in your mind.
Thank you, John.
Favourite.
Thank you.
You are. And we've just been to Greece, haven't we, on the island of Lesbos, as a matter of fact. Madge is going to accompany you in this little song in a traditional Greek manner. Just go over there and stand next to the bouzouki, will you, Madge? Take it away, Demis Roussos!
Ever and ever, forever and ever, you'll be the one that shines in me like the morning sun. Ever and ever, forever and ever, you'll be my dream, my rainbow's ends, and the song I sing. Take forever and ever.
Forever and ever.
My destiny will follow you eternally.
That was gorgeous. You ruined that, Madge. Ruined it. Sit down. Jeff Archer, Demis Roussos.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Lovely. Do sit down, Demis. Utterly gorgeous. There was an entire dinner service that Madge got at the Harrods sale that she ripped. It won't be much good at your... Well, it will be. You only need one setting at your dinner parties, don't you, Madge?
I did teach her how to break it, though.
What's the origin of that plate breaking?
I wish I knew. I tell you what, if it was an English origin, I would say that it's just to get rid of washing, so you don't wash it, you know. You avoid washing. But I don't know, that comes from a tradition, maybe to break the evil eye, you know, something like that.
I see. Isn't it fascinating, the tradition that your marvellous islands hold?
It started from a tradition, and then it ended up like a big business for the owners of the clubs, because they sell more plates than whiskey today, you know.
Because you have to eat the food off the plate before you can break it, and that was a bit of a hobby of yours for a year or two, wasn't it? It was, before you lost weight in such a spectacular fashion.
Yeah, well, I lost about 40 kilograms, then I took back another 10, then they go 5, then they come 3. It's like an accordion, you know.
But certainly you look a lot slimmer than you do on the sleeves of my albums. You do. But what do you enjoy eating? Do you like Greek food?
Well, I like good food, you know. For me, cooking is an art. There is no, it's like music. You see, I believe there's no bad music, there's just bad musicians. and there is no bad cooking, it's just bad cooks. You know?
But I, of course,
and I like any food which is good, well done.
Hummus?
Yeah, that's more in the Arabic side than in the Greek side.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, there's nothing.
And a doner kebab?
A doner kebab, yes. This is more of a, comes from Turkey to get into
Oh,
but all that side of the Mediterranean is almost the same.
I've never been really certain about doner kebabs. I always like to know who the donor is. Particularly these days, Possums.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, my hometown of Melbourne, in Australia, I'm an Australian, incidentally. You know Melbourne, here's a statistic that you won't even know, Jeff. Melbourne, my hometown, is the second biggest Greek city in the world. Isn't that spooky? Right? Greek is almost their second language. A lot of signs are in Australian and Greek.
Yes.
In the Qantas planes, Qantas is an old Greek word, by the way. I think it is, ancient Greek. They're different, the blonde, cultured ones. They all died out, I'm afraid, Demis. But the fact is that in the planes, in the little throbbing cubicles, you know those little toilets in the planes, those international flights, there's a sign that says, in Australian, says, please leave this toilet as you found it. And it's also in Greek, but I think it suffers in translation, judging by the state of the toilet. You are a bit of a sex symbol, Demis, you know.
Am I?
Don't you? You are. Has no one ever told you?
No.
Fortunately, you don't appeal to me. I say that. No. I mean that lovingly, I do. Because it'd ruin the interview, wouldn't it? But what is the turn-on, Demis, to use a rather modern and slightly raunchy expression? What is the turn-on to women, do you think? Now, don't be self-conscious. What is it about you, you know, that they...
I don't know, it's the first time really I hear about it.
Oh, no, well, it's always a bit of a first for people on my program.
Yeah.
Is it hair, do you think? Is it the facial hair or the hair on your shoulder blade?
I don't know, maybe we have to ask any lady that you don't think of that.
Oh, your modesty is very, very touching. You don't wear much jewellery, do you?
No.
You get lost in your body hair. You have to send out search parties for it. But the dress is the thing I want to get back to, darling. You've ditched the caftans, you don't wear them anymore. And yet they were your signature, weren't they?
Yes, I have them all in a big box. And one day I would like to organize a sort of auction, how you call it?
Oh.
Because I would like to give this money to a charity.
Oh, lovely.
Can I warn you about leaning back in the chair towards the end of the interview?
No. It's only, Jeff, if my guests get a little bit boring. It is. No, I don't mean that nastily. I mean that lovingly, Jeff. I do. No, but... So you might auction the caftans. You wouldn't give them away, would you? Well, you couldn't give them away.
No, because give them away? What is give them away?
Give them away. Well, that's a little idiom. Don't worry about it. You, like our other guests, Jeff, and like me, have a wonderful mother, haven't you, back in those islands?
Yes. I have a mother, and of course it's a Greek mother, and like a lot of people have, and I'm very happy and I love her very much.
Yes, we all do. Would you like to send her and some of your little friends back there in Greece? Because this is being satellited all over the world, this show.
Yeah.
Eskimos are watching us now.
Oh, really?
No, well, they were watching us. But, sorry, we've lost the Eskimos, but we picked up a lot of other people. I'd like you to send a little message in Greek, because this is a rather highbrow show, straight into the camera, and it'll go straight back to your family, because we've rung them all and told them to watch.
Σε όλους τους φίλους μου, όπου και αν βρίσκονται, σε όλο τον κόσμο, όλους τους Έλληνες. Επίσης την οικογένειά μου, τους εύχομαι πολλά, καλά και με αγάπη.
Message from our sponsor.
Και πάλι, εγώ το έχω πει την αγάπη μου και τα λοιπά και τα λοιπά και τα λοιπά. Αυτά έχω να πω. Τόση ώρα μιλάω. Δεν ξέρω τι έγινε, αλλά εδώ ήμουνα.
Oh, wasn't that lovely? Goodness knows, it could have been Homer or Shakespeare or anything. I would be none the wiser.
Shakespeare's rather appropriate with your dress, I think, Dame Edna.
Oh?
Drink to me only with mine eyes, and I will drink with thine.
Oh, thank you, Jeff, you poetical old thing. As a matter of fact, my frock does something rather special. Have a bit of a look at it. I might have to stand up to do this. Look, possums. Isn't that gorgeous? It's a saucy old dress. You know, I love the relaxed atmosphere that we've managed to achieve here in the impersonal atmosphere of a television studio. I'm, of course, not a professional comedian. I'm not. But I know a few, and the one I love the most, and I don't use that word lightly, a woman who I utterly adore, who cherishes me when I visit her in her hometown. I'd like to welcome to my show a woman who sometimes has a reputation for having an acerbic tongue, but who is basically a refined woman, so refined that she might have been born in Melbourne. I want a warm hand and, if not a standing ovation, a crouching ovation for Joan Rivers! Demis Roussos, sit down there, Joan, darling.
Good to see
Oh,
you.
to see you.
That is some staircase.
It
I'm out
is.
of breath going down. Well, I'm not into exercising, you know. My grandmother, you talk about your mother going back to school. My grandmother went back to do exercising, and she was 60 years old and began to walk 5 miles a day. And she is 97 years old yesterday. We don't know where she is.
You've been walking ever since,
Walking.
Joan.
And I should do it too, because my body is so crummy. Oh, please. Betty Ford saw me naked and began to drink again.
Are you having a lovely holiday here in London, Joan?
Yes, we went to Brighton.
Oh, lovely.
I've
For
been on
a
the
swim?
beach, but yes, it's, well, not a swimsuit, because I don't look that good in a bathing suit. you know, well, I have no boobs. See, when I stand up, it's okay. When I lie down on the beach, mine just disappear under my arm. I just don't, know what's happened to them.
You mustn't worry about them, darling.
Yeah, but I'm scared they're going to shrink. I wash them in dress.
Have you thought of washing them by hand, Jane? Tell me, what is... Where do you stand on cosmetic surgery, Joan? Have you ever had yourself landscaped at all?
I think we all have a little bit. But they're not doing cosmetic surgery in the States now. They're putting silicone in. A friend of mine now put breasts in silicone. And we live in California, there was an earthquake. And she ended up with a boob and a hip. So, but everyone should fix themselves up, don't you think?
Well, Madge should, I think, but I think about helping. She does it herself.
Madge?
Yes. She sort of believed in do-it-yourself cosmetic surgery for a while. I came home one night and I found Madge asleep on the sewing machine. She was trying to put a tuck into her neck. So she couldn't bite the thread. She was going... Just as though I came home and didn't go for a holiday, I could have come back and there'd be a skeleton lying there.
Well, a friend of mine, you talk about it, a friend of mine pulled the body so tight, her knees are now her boobs are now the ears, and she talks from way back here. First time she said hello, I thought she pooped. I mean,
Are you a good mother?
I think so. I mean, I'm from California, so... Joan Crawford was considered a good mother out there. Her kid's first words were, ouch. But I think I'm a good mother. I know part of it's because my child has never given me trouble. Melissa, from the day she was, I had the easiest birth. I was walking down the street, I went, look who's here on a leash. It was, you must never tell your children this. Make your children think you suffered. Then they will stay with you when you get older. Make them feel guilty.
How would I do that?
Well, Melissa... For example, she's 19 now. I still, when she's at home, sit on a rubber tube. I go, Melissa, you ripped me to shreds with your big stupid head, but don't feel guilty. And that, keeps them happy.
Could I do that to my kiddies now?
Well, you could try.
My daughter Valmay has turned against me. Turned against me, Valmay
How?
has. Well, I don't know. She's a strange person. She's become odd. She does mud wrestling now, Jane, with women of like mind. And she doesn't have a shower afterwards either. She doesn't. She comes home looking like a King Edward potato. Mud sticks, doesn't it, Jeff? It does. I'll tell you this. It does. Let's not talk about yucky things like mud and all that type of thing when we could be meeting our next exciting guest. She's glamorous, she's glitzy, and she's from Hungary. She's gorgeous, Zsa Zsa Gabor! Abort her. I did.
Is she going to be all right?
No. She was wearing a natural fur, and I'm sorry, I'm a conservationist. She's not coming onto my show. She's not coming onto my show with a dead animal around her, Joan. She'll be all right. She'll be all right, my darling woman. I've got a trained nurse over there. See?
And she's not moving the nurse.
No.
Because it's a woman. Nurses don't like women.
She is a bit spooky. I'm not sure she should. At least she should have gone to Zsa Zsa's help, shouldn't she?
The worst nurses, the gynecologist nurses. Well, any nurse is awful. I was in the hospital 3 months ago when she insisted on shaving me.
Shaving you? Well, they all shave you, Joan.
I was a visitor.
Of course, Jeff and Demis, every time I'm in Beverly Hills, this woman looks after me. She takes me under her wing, don't you, Jeff? Well, not wings, you haven't got wings, but what do you call those little bits of skin under your arm? I'm teasing. Beverly Hills, what a place.
And you fit right in. You're just, oh, you do. Because you're very they're so health conscious there, you know.
Too health conscious.
I think a friend of mine died, and it's just on a coffin with a sunroof, you know. It's just...
Ever been there, Jeff?
Yes, I went there with my first book, and my publisher said, well, you must go to the Beverly Hills Hotel. You must be seen in the Beverly Hills Hotel, because that's where everybody is. And I walked in the door, and there's Robert Redford and Paul Newman. And when we got to the dining room, I was told that according to your status was where you actually got a table. So I ended up in the kitchen. And when I was sitting listening to the Californians, I never heard California better summed up. The two ladies who looked as if they'd been through about 4 husbands between them. And one leant to the other and said, you know, my dear, in the end, I had to sue my lawyer.
You could work that up into quite an anecdote. Joan, darling, has Beverly Hills changed much since I was there?
You know, we had, since you came to visit me, we have 2 new neighbors. Imelda Marcos moved in, which is very exciting. On my right.
How did you know it was her?
The cat howled and 2,000 shoes came across the backyard. Left, we have a Jew Hare Krishna couple. You talk about mixed marriages. Yeah. She goes to the airports and begs for jewelry. And and then there we are, right in the center. And you were wonderful. You stayed over and you left the place very clean.
Oh, your home was lovely, you know. Although Joan's only got one home, it's beautiful. It is. I've got a long home. I've got a place, well, I've got a smaller place. If I sold all of my properties, I could have a lovely home like yours. The guest bathroom, Joan.
Yes, it's
You've probably not. Have you been in there?
Yes.
The guest bathroom, Jim. I mean, it's got deodorizers for parts of the body I didn't know existed. It's got onyx floors, onyx shelves. I don't like the chain on the toothbrush, though, Joan. It's a bit short. You kneel on the floor to clean your teeth. Mind you, I was longing to use your toilet when I was there. I was longing to use it, but the tissue dispenser wouldn't take my credit card. Joan Rivers, though, I think you're very wise to turn your guest bathroom into a profit-making concern. You must have made a fortune from us girls sitting there patiently.
Men are lucky because they can stand up when they go to the bathroom. Do you know what I mean? They can...
Not my husband, I'm afraid.
I'm sorry about that. The average man, though, they miss. How can they miss when they stand up? That's what I think you can tell what kind of a lover a man is going to be from the way he tinkles. If a man in a room that is fully lit cannot hit a hole this big around.
Ponder on that one. You darling. Beverly Hills, well, it is your home area, but you're from New York.
The best. New York is the best. The women are tough, you know what I'm saying? A friend of mine was raped and mugged and never lost her place in a supermarket line. That's a tough woman.
That's New York.
That's New York.
Thanks, Joan, for the moment. I want to continue this discussion over lunch. You couldn't all come to lunch on Sunday. What about you, Jeff?
I'd love to come.
Lovely, Joan.
I will be in Ireland.
Oh, Demis?
Well, I can't, because we have a saying in Greece that says, "Ποτέ την Κυριακή."
Oh, I'm glad you do. What does that mean?
Never on a Sunday.
There's music to that, Demis
Oh, yes,
Roussos.
there is.
Never on a Sunday when the church is full of people and the bells are ringing in the steeple. La 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 la.
Oh, you can kiss me on a Monday, a Monday, a Monday is very, very good.
Oh, you can kiss me on a Tuesday, a Tuesday, a Tuesday. In fact, I wish you would.
I would. Or you can kiss me on a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, and Saturday is the best.
But never, never on a Sunday, a Sunday, a Sunday. But that's my day of rest.
Oh, yeah. And you'll be my guest. Any day you say, but my day of rest. Just name the day that you like the best. Only stay away on my day of rest.
Sunday when the church is full of people and the bells are ringing in the steeple. La 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 la.
You can kiss me on a Monday, on Mondays, on Mondays are very, very good.
Or you can kiss me on a Tuesday, a Tuesday, a Tuesday. In fact, I wish you would.
I would. Or you can kiss me on a Wednesday, on Thursday, or Friday, and Saturday is the best.
But never, never on
Never.
a Sunday, a Sunday, a Sunday. Oh, that's my day of rest. Thank you, Cousin Demis Roussos, Jeffrey Archer, and Joan Rivers. Good night, Cousin.
TV12's Flicks is next with Patrick Stoner, followed by Spotlight, and at 11 o'clock by the premiere of our series Israel, A Nation is Born with Abba Eban. Stay with us tonight here on TV12.
Saturday. It's Rosalind Russell in a spectacular performance.
You're